This is Crystal West of Avlia Folk Embroidery, and I'm at the Benaki Museum in Athens, Greece, and we are in the folk costume rooms. Some of these pieces are, actually most of these pieces are just stunning in their intricacy and unique designs, and so I thought it might be fun to do a little walkthrough of this room. These are various regions. Here we have Naxos work, the very distinctive red and white darning stitch work from the island of Naxos. Of course, loads of folk costumes from various regions. What's really impressive in these pieces is the size and the scale. Many of these pieces we see in museum books, and we see a fraction of the design. We don't see the design in its entirety as the original embroidery was produced. These are enormous bed sheets. This was a common folk embroidered item that was made, so you can get a sense of how large these are. They are very large. Here's a third one. And let's get up maybe a little close and look at some of the intricacy of the design. I love the birds. There's birds, figures. This is Epirus work. Here's a very famous ship. This is in a lot of museum books, this ship from Epirus. We note here too in these rooms we have a lot of chests because this is where the embroideries were. We're gonna kind of move back this way. The embroideries were stored in the chests. This is a recreation of a living room from Epirus as well. Epirus work, those of you who are interested in embroidery, this work is a type of surface embroidery done with what we know is like Romanian couching, some Cretan stitch, some Byzantine fishbone, some other satin stitch, some other fill stitches. But these designs would have been hand drawn onto the linen or the silk, and then embroidered with silk floss, oftentimes untwisted silk. Now here, let me back out. These are more costumes. But what I really want to show you today, and there's cases and cases of costumes, but what I think is the really impressive piece, it really took my breath away when I came in, was this to the left here. I have studied this bed tent curtain a number of times. I had no idea of its size. It is simply massive. It is fully 12 feet high. It is enormous. And imagine embroidering all of this. This, I believe, is from either Rhodes or Kos, if I remember right. You can see the real intricacy of design there. This also is stitched with untwisted silk in various folk embroidery stitches. Here is another really amazing piece from Naxos with the very distinctive star motifs that are found in Naxos. Sorry, there's a lot of reflection on some of these pieces, so it's a little hard for me to get a really high quality video. That's classic Naxos work. Very beautiful, very intricate, very interlocking, features half-drop motif repeats. Let's find another one here. Oh, here we have some woven pieces next to a loom. The light is low in here to protect the embroideries. Here's a working loom. And here's more of the weaving samples. You can see a lot of interchange between weaving and cross stitch and certain embroidery motifs. This unique carved piece is a Milos Baveri, and it is actually the wooden piece that the bed tent curtain is hung around from the ceiling. It's the carved piece of the bed tent curtain over here. Let me show you. Right there, you can see up close, up high here at the very top, where that looks like it's fastened around a circle. That's actually fastened around the Milos Baveri. I'm actually working on a design right now that is inspired by the carving from this very famous Milos Baveri. We have more folk costume. This is folk costume from Cyprus and the Dodecanese, and we'll come up to the Cretan work in just a moment here. We have the beautiful, beautiful red and white work. I'm always really drawn to this amazing red and white work. Let's see if I can get a little closer on some of this for you. Look at that. It's just incredible. Here, let me go a little closer. Look at that. Beautiful. This is the design from which my Santorini floral design just is originated in, is this design here. And then this just keeps going on and on. These are really amazing designs. Okay, we're gonna walk along here. We have some of the male folk costume. Here we have some of the Cretan work. Cretan work is very distinctive in its use of the stitch known as Cretan stitch, also sometimes known as Byzantini, the Byzantini or the Byzantine stitch. And these kind of works also contain stem stitch, satin stitch, what we sometimes call Romanian couching, Cretan stitch, I think I said that, yes, and you can see how they're sort of like worked in rows if I get really close, and you can see that this is untwisted silk. So that has a particular quality to the embroidery because of the untwisted silk. It has a little bit more depth and it sits a little bit more on top of the fabric because of that. And then here we have a stunning piece of Cretan folk costume with the characteristic extremely wide embroidered skirt border. These skirt, as you can see, there's a pleat there, so it can be raised or lowered. And these borders oftentimes feature very fantastical creatures, mermaids, birds, all sorts of really amazing symbology and motifs. Typically worked in a warm blue, terracotta, gold, and a soft olive green, classic Cretan palette. Here we have a weaving, a really beautiful weaving. And then to finish up, I want to show you a really beautiful, this is a section of a bed tent curtain. This is a very famous one. And you can see it's just remarkable. When I get closer, you can see the incredible intricacy of the stitches. This is done with what we in English call darning stitch, sometimes needle darning, this sort of a thing. Beautiful, and look at the coloration. The coloration is so fresh, so bright. It's that classic coloration. This is a little bit warmer, cooler toned version of the Cretan color palette. And there we have it. And I encourage all of you, when you make your next trip to Greece, to come to the Benaki Museum, to the Folk Costume Room.